And the Hangout is on live. I hope you guys can hear me because I can't hear myself. But I'm back. Welcome back to Dylan Knows. It's been 18 days since I've done an episode of Dylan Knows, and hopefully this is working now. I didn't hear the ding, so I don't know if I'm supposed to hear that or what, but I'm hoping that if anyone out there is watching, you let me know if you cannot hear me. So make sure everything's connected correctly. Yes, it looks like everything is connected correctly. So, hi, how are you? This is Dylan Lang. I am back. For those who don't know, Dylan Knows is my usual weekly radio show, but I haven't been on since November 30th. That was my last episode, my beer episode with the lovely Devil's Milk Queen, me. And then I was going to do. All right, thank you, John. It says, hear you loud and clear. Pew, thank you. Awesome. And I was going to do my episode with MJ Khan on December 7th. Comics. We're going to talk comics. We had a huge episode planned. Tons of stuff. Lots of discussion about casting and comics in general itself. And my computer wouldn't connect to the internet. That was pretty odd. So I was like, okay. So we tried a few things and it didn't work. So I canceled the episode for that day. And then we kept trying it. Dawn and I kept trying it for a couple days after that. It still wasn't working. So we decided there was a small, like a mom and pop type of computer repair store up in Hunt Valley, which is where Dawn works. And I'm going to try it out, see if maybe they could figure out what was going on with that. Plus also Dawn was locked out of her own account, which was another entirely different story. We're not going to talk about that right now. So we sent it to this place and they had it for about 4 days, and they were finished yesterday. And today we got it back, and it's working fine. And it only cost us $89, which is amazing considering we didn't know what we were getting into with that. If I took this to Best Buy or whatever, it'd be like $300 to fix. But I don't know, and maybe I'm just being a little bit pissy. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So. I decided, you know what, may as well do a test today. The long lamented Fantastic Snarkalic Radio had its final episode last week at this time. So I'm just filling the slot this week. I'm probably not going to be doing any Thursdays considering next Thursday is Christmas. Yee, that's right, Christmas is in 7 days. And then after that, it's New Year's Day. Yee. And then it's January 7th. And then, I probably still won't do an episode, but we'll see what happens. For now, Dylan Knows is going to be in a little weird of a kind of a catch-up holiday mode for the rest of the month for the most part. This is what's going on. For those who don't know, Dylan Knows is my weekly YouTube show. Every week I have a different co-host and we have a different discussion. And so the first Sunday of the month, it's usually on Sundays, 12:30 p.m. First Sunday of the month is comics. The second Sunday of the month is my list show. The third Sunday of the month is my paranormal supernatural show. My fourth one is Dylan Knows International. So this is what's going on. I was supposed to do my comic show on Sunday, December 7th. That's not going to happen. Obviously didn't happen. But I talked to MJ. MJ and I will be doing our Christmas episodes. Well, not really a Christmas, but our comic show that we should have done December 7th we'll be doing on December 23rd at 9 o'clock. That's a Tuesday. So before you go out doing your late night Christmas shopping, check out Dylan Knows Comics. And hey, we might even have some suggestions for last minute gift ideas for Christmas Eve. Video comic store, buy some stuff. Might do that. So Dylan Knows Comics with MJ Khan will be on Tuesday, December 23rd at 9 p.m. My list show with the lovely Gigi Fletcher will actually be on tomorrow night. 9 o'clock is what I'm aiming for. I'll have to make sure Jerry is okay with that. She said she's free Friday. I'll make sure 9 o'clock is good. So join us here tomorrow at 9 o'clock for Dylan Knows Lists, and it will be Christmas themed. Jerry and I will be doing our top Christmas songs of all time. We haven't picked a number yet. Constantly, I haven't made my list yet because I had all this problem. I started. All right, that's not true. I started writing some stuff down, but I'll have to come up. It'll be somewhere between 15 and 20 probably, and then who knows? We might find something else to discuss. We'll see. I will not be having a paranormal show this month because this Sunday, the 21st, first day of winter, I have, well, the whole family pretty much has plans all day, so we can't do anything. And Saturday, plans also on Saturday, and then Saturday night is a new sci-fi movie, which I forgot to get the title of, but all you Snark Alex out there watching, and for those who want to join with the Snark Alex, whatever, watch Sci-Fi Saturday night, 9 o'clock. They're bringing in their Christmas holiday movie. I think it's about Killer Ice or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. If somebody knows, please let me know either via Twitter. I've got the Q&A up on Google Plus, so you can let me know. So if you're out there watching on Google Plus, say right up on the question Q&A and say, hey, what's going on? Or send me a tweet one way or the other. And I'll see what I can. But there is a new sci-fi holiday movie on Saturday at 9 o'clock. So that's how the Snark Alex got together. And so that's why I won't be doing a show Saturday night. And then Sunday just busy. So we should be getting back to our regular schedule in January. So hopefully that would be Martin Luther King weekend probably. Yeah, probably was when we do the next paranormal show. So I haven't done that one in a long time. So I know Larissa misses you guys, and I miss Larissa. So hopefully we get that taken care of. And then my Dylan Knows International show should be on a regular Sunday. That would be the 28th of December at 12:30. As of now, it's 12:30. I talked to Bronwyn, and she's probably going to be doing it from her folks' house, which is pretty cool that she wants to do that. We're going to try to get Amy Figaro on again. She was on last month, and we had to cut it short because of timing and issues and stuff like that. And I'm going to try to get maybe Brianne back on. I haven't asked her yet, so maybe I should. And then January, we should get back to normal. Once again, I got to talk to MJ to be sure, but January 4th, I guess, is that first Sunday in 2015. We should be doing a Dylan Knows comic show, and then we should get back to our regular schedule for that, barring any other situations that pop up. So what else is going on with Dylan Knows real quick? And then I'll move on to it because I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about today because I figured now that we're up and running, I want to get back into the groove of things because I got 2 episodes coming up in the next couple of days, and I want to get back into it. I've been out of the ring for 18 days, and I'm getting really antsy. So like a caged tiger, rawr, rawr. As you can see, I'm going a little crazy right now. I'm just ecstatic everything's working okay. So what's going on with Dylan Knows? As I said, we're still around. Snark Alex Radio may have retired, but Dylan Knows is still going strong. I have no plans nor no desires to retire. When I get to episode 89, we'll see if I change my mind, but I don't think so. I mean, the one difference between me and Snark Alex Radio is that I have different genres I can talk about every week where they were sometimes scraping for things to talk about, which isn't bad, but, that's what happens. But Snark Alex Radio, without Snark Alex Radio, there would be no Dylan Knows. And so I will be forever, eternally grateful to Tony and Kelly and Mel and Mike for that. So, but that doesn't mean that they're just going to disappear. Christmas Ice-tastrophe. All right, thank you, John. Once again, John, you got my back today. Thank you. I'll get you back on the show too. Christmas Ice-tastrophe. All right, should be fantastic. So that's Christmas Ice-tastrophe. Let's see that 3 times fast. Christmas Ice-tastrophe. Christmas Ice-tastrophe. Saturday, 9 p.m. Sci-Fi. So Snark Alex, gotta go there. We gotta go. We gotta drink. We gotta tweet. We gotta snark. It'll be return of the old days. Should be fun. We make it into a big Snark Alex party, like we usually do. So what's going on? I mentioned some stuff back in November, which might be rolling in soon. I still got an idea for a movie show where I'll talk to a Snark Alex and we'll watch a movie and then we'll review it on a Dylan Knows episode. I'm still working out the kinks on that one. I've been trying to get some big time guests on the show. I've had a couple leads on a few people, but they just keep I haven't had the time, I guess, or I just haven't, maybe not the time, but I just haven't been following up with them to, get in their face and, hey, you're going to do this. But I want to try to get our friend Gerald Webb on the show. I'd love to get Rebecca Kennedy, who was such a delight on the last episode of Snark Radio. Allison Victoria, any of the other of our Snarkalic friends that have been in sci-fi movies, stuff like that. Comic-wise, one of the guys I worked with at Diamond is now a bigwig at Boom Studios. I'm going to try to get Philip Sablik on my comic show sometime. And I had a line on Dustin Perry, who's part of Ghost Hunters, to be on my Supernatural show, but it just hasn't quite worked out. He said he'd do it, but his schedule has been hectic since he's rejoined Ghost Hunters. So I'm going to try to work out something in the new year to try to get him on, because I'd love to have Dustin on as well. And try to open up a few things as well. We'll see what else is going on. So I got my movie show hopefully coming up. I got Fifth Sundays. I got about 3 or 4 of them coming up this year, so I got to think of stuff to do. One of them we'll do another beer episode. Mandy and I will be discussing probably in the summer more like the summer ales and stuff like that. So that should be a whole lot of fun. As I said, we'll have to wait and see. There's possibly maybe some Harry Potter stuff might make its way in. I haven't done a Harry Potter one yet, so that might be fun to do. I'd like to try to get the awesome Comicosity Hangout ladies, Karen, Allison, and Jessica, who has been on the show before, to come back on the show and then have a good discussion about maybe women in comics and stuff like that. And we'll see. We got some stuff. So I've got a lot of stuff in the oven cooking up, because I want to be a hit on YouTube, become rich and famous doing something you love. I saw this at the grocery store. I had to buy it. So I'm going to read it, and I'm going to learn how to become rich and famous doing this, so I can quit my job and just do Dylan Knows and The Assistant. That actually brings up a point. So I have my fictional web show, The Assistant, which I'll talk about in a second. And a lot of people, well, not a lot, but no one actually has. But I also used to do a show called The Comic Hall. As of now, The Comic Hall is dead. I may do it again later, maybe in the spring, summer, depending. The main reason is finances. We've got nailed with a bunch of stuff this year, end of this year, and we're going to get a bunch of stuff nailed beginning of this next year. So I've had to cut my comics drastically, and haven't really been following them as well as I should have. So got to be grown up. So save money. I'm going to start cutting back on my comics, and so I will not be doing the Comic Hall for the foreseeable future. So not that it really mattered much. I only had 2 or 3 viewers, but Janine, I'll still, we'll just come to watch the comic show with me and MJ. We'll get you involved with that, and then there might be occasional things that pop up, like a free comic book day one or stuff like that. So we'll see what happens, and who knows, maybe if finances level off or I win the lottery or whatever, I'll be able to do it again. But for now, Comic Hall is dead. But that just gives me more opportunity to work on Dylan Knows and also The Assistant. Now, for those who don't know, The Assistant is my fictional web series, which I'm very proud of. And it's a fictional version of myself set in Doctor Who universe. So Doctor Who fans, you might want to check that out. So episodes, the longest episode I've done is 7 minutes, and the shortest one I've done is about a minute long. It's about, I think about 30 episodes in the can right now. I highly recommend you check it out, not just for myself. I'm very proud of what I'm doing with The Assistant, and I'm enjoying it immensely. And I have this incredible journey in my head, and I can't wait to get to it. The final episode of The Assistant will be in July, so you've got 7 months to catch up. So who knows how many episodes I'll have during that time frame. 7 months, you think about that, that's about 28 weeks. I do about 2 episodes a week. 6, that's 56 more episodes I've got there. I'd be close to about I could probably knock out about maybe 100 episodes of The Assistant before this thing is done. As I said, I don't know if I will, because it's done totally improv. Everything I do is, okay, I got to go film. and this is what I want to do. This is what I want to film. This is what I got to say. This is what I got to do. So I might have an improv problem. I might have an situation where things might not come up. But 100 episodes is not inconceivable. Because as I said, the last episode will not be until July. And then we have weeks like this upcoming week, which hopefully, if all goes according to plan, Saturday. Another reason why I'm not going to be doing a show on Saturday is because I will be filming. I have plans to do 4 episodes of The Assistant, film them on Saturday. And it's a major 4-part story that takes place on Christmas Eve, which is going to lead to my Christmas episode. For those who are Doctor Who fans, you know that they have an annual tradition where they do a standalone Christmas episode. I'm going to be doing like that, except mine is going to be standalone. Mine is going to be connected to the bigger fabric of things. And technically, if you want to get to it, technically, this episode that I'm going to do on Christmas Day is turning point. It's the end of the first part of The Assistant and the beginning of the second, and is a major turning point in the series. It is a game changer, and these 4 episodes I'm going to be filming hopefully on Saturday, weather permitting, camera permitting, because the episode I filmed last week, I only filmed 3, and they were only about a minute each because my camera phone was being a pain in the butt. But I think I figured out what I'm going to do. I'm going to delete some apps off of my iPhone. I'm going to film the videos, and then I'll put those apps back on and maybe do that whenever I want to film, because it takes 2 seconds to delete an app and 2 seconds to get them back on. So hopefully, if all goes according to how I want it to, these next 4 episodes are going to be awesome. They're going to be on location in a town nearby called Towson, at the mall during one of the busiest shopping times of the year. So I'm very excited for it, and I'm very excited for the Christmas episode. Can't wait for you guys to see it. It is, and I'm not blowing smoke. It is a change. It's a game changer. It is a turning point in the season. It's the end of part 1 and the beginning of part 2. So on that note, I think I've pushed myself enough, haven't I? Yes. There is other things real quick. Another reason why I love this series, The Assistant, is because the awesome Tony Solo, the awesome Kelly Toole, the awesome Mike from Pagan have created their own little analysis show called Talking Assistant, or as they like to call it, Talking Ass. And it is great to hear these guys discuss something that I did, and it makes me very proud and excited. And I won't mention this, they give me way more credit than I deserve, but it's still a lot of fun. I have just started a new Twitter account. For those who might not know, I still have my Holidill, so please stick with Holidill, but I've got another one called Dylan CoPro, which is the only way I could do it. It's my official Dylan Knows / The Assistant Twitter, where I will be sending out updates on when I'm filming, what I'm filming, when I'm doing stuff. Also, I'll be doing the videos through there as well. I'm still going to connect it to my Holidill one as well, but there might be a time where I might just shift everything to my Dylan CoPro and just retweet it from my Holidill. So we'll see. But that's the main reason why I did it, was because actually Jan was the one who suggested that a while back that I should create my own Twitter one. And she's going to add it to her. She's got a media website or something like that she works on, so she's going to add that to hopefully get some new viewers, because that's the whole point. I mean, build a huge audience. How to make money, of course, but build a huge audience. This book will tell me how, but there's going to be a lot of help also I need as well. So I think that covered everything for me right now. For those who've been fellow watchers of Dylan Knows, as you see, I'm on episode 63, so I've been around for over a year. And I try to follow every week I do something different, but sometimes circumstances happen where one of my co-hosts can't make it. I got to fill in somewhere, or I had some issues early on with filling a fourth Sunday slot before I came with Dylan Knows International. And I came with a few things, and one of them was Dylan Knows. Actually, it's not Dylan Knows. We'll call it Dylan Knows Out of My Head. I wrote a column in college for the college newspaper called Out of My Head, which was just a random column where I wrote whatever I felt like. And once again, I stole that from someone who Comics Buyer's Guide, but I discussed this in an episode way back, so you can go find that if you want to. To make a long story short, too late. For those who know the Clue joke. So every once in a while, I do one of these where I'm solo by myself, just talking about whatever is in my head, and would love to have any interaction with anybody. As I said, John McGivern has been kind enough to tweet some stuff as well. If you guys want to talk with me about things, please go use the Q&A on Google Plus or tweet me at either Dylan Copro or Holodill, because both will come through my phone. There's just a few things I just want to cover real quick, just stuff out of my head, as it were. The first thing, let's talk about the interview. For those who don't know what's going on, Sony, a big movie studio in Hollywood, got hacked by North Koreans, according to the American government, who's been investigating it. And they've released tons of emails and stuff, and they've also threatened violence against any theaters in America that show the movie The Interview, which is Seth Rogen, James Franco, movie about two journalists attempting to kill Kim Jong-il, or Kim Jong-il, I should say, his son. So I understand why they're upset. I mean, I can understand it, but you know what? It's a movie. It's a comedy. And it's now, I don't want you to think I'm taking the threat of a terrorist attack lightly. I'm not. But do you really think that North Koreans are going to attack 2,000, 25,000 theaters showing the movie? Do they have the manpower? I don't think so. I think it's just, how would they do it? Could they hit one or two? Possibly, but you know what? That would create war, and America and its allies would immediately attack it. And before you know it, I don't think the war would last too long. But what happened was Sony, because they were the ones that got hit with this hacking, they got gun shy and they pulled the movie from theaters. I think that's a bad idea. Basically, it's telling terrorists, hey, you just make a threat that you're going to kill some people because of a movie, and we're going to release it. It's censorship, and censorship is not good. Am I not getting all the information out there? I don't know. This is just what I've read and what I've heard. I just do not think that there would be any way that North Korea would be able to attack movie theaters showing the film. And if they did, you saw what happened when 9/11 happened. We went into Iraq, we went to Afghanistan, and we pulverized them for the most part. And what would stop us from doing that in North Korea? I don't think anything would. If they killed American people, I think America and Americans would be plenty fine with invading North Korea and attacking them. I think it was an empty threat, and it's a form of censorship, and it won. And it's going to make if we're talking about my show being a game changer, this is a game changer too, because now any terrorist group can say, well, we don't like that you made the villain Islamic, so we're going to threaten to blow up a movie theater if you show this movie. And of course, people are going to be gun shy about it because they don't want to kill. They don't want anyone to die, and they're also afraid that maybe that will scare them away from going to see the movie because they're afraid that maybe they're going to die. And so it's going to tank anyway. So they figured, it'd be easier just to shut it down. But it's censorship, and it's not right, and it's not good. So that's all I'm going to say about that, because I'm going to try to keep these short to the point, because I'm going to try to keep this to within an hour. So I got about a half an hour left to go, and I got some other stuff I really want to cover real quick. So you talked about tech problems. As mentioned in my last episode of Dylan Knows International, I will be getting, good point, John. They make the threat public, and some mentally imbalanced person does something. Okay, that makes sense, John. It does. But still, I just don't know if I agree with what Sony's doing. Is it worth the risk? I don't know. yeah, does something stupid, that is a danger. Yeah, I wasn't making light of the danger, John. I was just making my point, and I do understand, and I understand that, but I just think now it's just going to cause more people to threaten movies to get released, and they're not going to get released, and before you know it, everything art's going to suffer. So let me get back to what I was saying. In my last episode of Dylan Knows International, I was discussing my computer tech problems, and I mentioned that that episode of Dylan Knows International may be the first one that will be done on my new computer, because my awesome in-laws are going to be getting Dawn and I a brand new laptop. We're not getting rid of this one. I mean, we just repaired it a little bit, and it still works pretty good. And it just has some issues with it. We just need to clean it up a little bit. So we'll be getting a new laptop, brand new everything. So hopefully things will go a lot smoother, and I won't have these tech issues that I have anymore. I've had recently, and actually maybe hopefully with this cleaning that was done by this new computer company, this fixing up, maybe that's going to help out a little bit as well. So brand new computer coming soon. I don't know if we'll be having it up and running in time for the 28th, because we'll probably be getting it on the 27th, which is when we're going to be celebrating Christmas with my in-laws, but we'll see. It's a very good possibility we might, and it might be the first test of it, so we'll see. So be on the lookout for that. Dylan Knows may look a little bit different. John asked, did you get a chance to watch Ascension? No, I did not, John. It's been a crazy week. A crazy couple weeks actually, and I was originally excited about it, and then I read some reviews about it, and they said how lousy it was, and I was like, okay, I'm probably not going to watch this. But then I was reading what was going on Twitter, and everybody was excited about it. Doug Close, Tony Solo, Myrna, they were all ecstatic about how great it was and how they want more. So what I may have to do is, if Sci-Fi is not notorious, but they're pretty good about rerunning stuff, maybe when they rerun it, we'll DVR it, and Dawn and I will watch the 6 episodes. 6 episodes, yeah. But no, didn't get a chance to see Ascension. And that's a big problem with me right now. And it might just be about me. I haven't read comics in a while. I've DVR'd every episode of The Flash, every episode of Constantine, every episode of Gotham. And I haven't caught up on Gotham. I had watched the first few episodes of Gotham, and then I didn't get caught up on it. I haven't watched any episodes of The Flash. I haven't watched any episodes of Constantine. Z Nation. I was watching Z Nation, and then just one Friday things were going a little crazy. We were out or about or something like that, and so I DVR'd, and we just never got around to watching it and getting caught up. So we haven't gotten caught up on Z Nation yet. I mean, the only show we've really been watching religiously is Sleepy Hollow, and that's mainly because Dawn is writing the reviews for Paranormal Pop Culture for Sleepy Hollow. And I think that really might be the only one we had been watching religiously up to this point. So I'm hoping with the new year be some new changes for me to try to work out timing a little bit better, to read my comics, to watch these shows, get caught up on them, and watch any new shows that come out. I really want to watch Agent Carter when that comes out on ABC, because I like Haley. And I think there's like a fantasy comedy type of Princess Bride type of show that's going to be on soon too. I want to get in touch with that. And there's a few sci-fi shows coming up that I might want to check out. Of course, Helix is coming back, so we're gonna watch that anyway, because Dawn's writing the reviews for Paranormal Pop Culture for that, so we'll be caught up on that. 12 Monkeys looks interesting to me. I love the movie, but I've been thinking about it more and more. I'm not sure if I want to watch a series based on it, because it looks like it's just going to be retreading the same ground. We'll see. but no, John, to answer your question, I haven't seen Ascension, but from what I've been reading from everybody on Twitter, they loved it, and maybe I should pay attention more to the Twitter folks than the reviewers. So, as I said, hopefully maybe it'll be rerun soon, and we'll be able to get caught up on that. And who knows, maybe if it goes to series, we'll see what happens. What is that? Talk about end of blah blah blah. I have no idea what that says. Oh yeah, let's talk about this real quick. Today, December 18th, 2014, is Steven Spielberg's birthday. So happy birthday, Steven Spielberg. One of the best directors of our time. Will be looked upon as the directors in the past that are huge critically acclaimed directors. He will be looked upon in that group. He will be in that echelon. He is a what's the word they use in the NFL? He's an elite director, still directing. So just thinking back to Steven Spielberg, I was looking through his filmography, and he hasn't done a lot of movies. I mean, he's done a fair amount, but and I'm also surprised about how many actually I haven't watched of his, which is surprising. What's great about Steven is that he's able to jump around from doing the action adventure type of stuff like a Raiders or Indiana Jones, to a historical piece like Munich or Schindler's List, or Saving Private Ryan, and then going into like the realms of fantasy with Close Encounters, E.T., Jaws, AI, stuff like that. War of the Worlds, always, stuff like that. He's got a great filmography, and he's one of those directors that he started off as someone that he did well with Jaws, did well with Close Encounters, fell flat with 1941. Raiders brought him back into the spotlight. E.T. catapulted him into the stratosphere. And then he started going through that phase where he wanted to try something different. So, Empire of the Sun and Color Purple come out. And people began to realize that, this guy is not just a popcorn, big summer movie type of guy. He can do some other stuff as well. And then he started mixing it up a little bit, which I think is absolutely brilliant. So he does stuff that interests him. I mean, look at it this way. His next couple films, he's got a Cold War thriller with Tom Hanks, which sounds awesome. He's keeping that under the vest. I don't know a lot about it, but that sounds awesome. Tom Hanks in a Cold War thriller. Very interesting. And then he's doing an adaptation of a Roald Dahl book, BFG, Big Friendly Giant. So you got that fantasy element again. So, and he's re-teaming with Melissa Matheson, who wrote E.T., so that's going to be another big one as well. But he's such a great director that, he's got a distinctive style, but then you're able to catch some other stuff that he does and see new things that he brings about and learns new things every time he films something. And so he's up there. I think he's actually a year older than my dad. So, he's getting up there. I mean, he's in his upper 60s. So he's not going to be around for much longer, but, he keeps directing stuff. I mean, there's lots of stuff. And luckily there are lots of films that I haven't seen of his. I'd love to see War Horse sometime. I've never actually seen Munich. I haven't seen Lincoln yet, which is killing me because I got it on my DVD, Blu-ray. I just haven't sat down for 3 hours and watched his Lincoln, And his Tom Hanks has never been, not Tom Hanks, his Tom Cruise movies. I've never really been a big fan of Tom Cruise, but I've never seen War of the Worlds. I've never seen the other one that they did. I can't remember what that was called. So there's a lot of ones that I still haven't seen, and so once I get free time, hopefully I'll be able to get in there. I'll be able to see some of these that I haven't caught up with. So what are my favorite Spielberg movies. Well, obviously, Jaws is up there. Close Encounters, all three Indiana Jones movies, obviously. E.T., Jurassic Park. And the sequel, not so much. The Lost World had potential. If here's the interesting thing. Both Jurassic Park and The Lost World were based on the novels by Michael Crichton, and I read both the novels because I like dinosaurs and I heard big things about it. And then when I heard Spielberg had bought the rights to make Jurassic Park, I wanted to read it before I saw it. So I thought, okay, let's read it. So I read Jurassic Park. If you've actually read Jurassic Park, the novel, it's really not great. I mean, it's fine. I mean, you for the most part, Spielberg used the general framework of it, and I like the movie better only because he's able to punch up the characters a little bit more. Like Hammond, the guy who created Jurassic Park, played by Richard Attenborough. He was in the book was a dick, was a douchebag, was a jerk. I wouldn't want to. I would hate that be his be his grandchild. He was the biggest jerk you'd ever seen, and then he dies in one of the dumbest ways you've ever seen. I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't read the book, but he dies. Ian Malcolm, played by Jeff Goldblum, his character also dies in the book. And there's some other sequences that didn't make it into the movie that were in the book. And then at the same time, another characterization I like is the young girl, who I can't think of her name right now. In the book, she is portrayed as a spoiled brat. She's useless, to be honest. And I love the fact that in Jurassic Park, the movie, Spielberg was able to punch up her character and make her more interesting and make her more concerned about her. Same with Richard Attenborough's Hammond. Make him more of the jolly Santa Claus type, because Attenborough played Santa Claus in Miracle on 34th Street, the remake of it. But he had that Santa Claus glint in his eye type of look. And that's you build that, and that's what Hammond should be. That's the guy that I really enjoyed, not this douchebag who was in the book. So then The Lost World comes out. I figure, okay, Spielberg has already said he's going to do the sequel to it. May as well read this as well, see if it's any better than the first book. Lost World is the better book. It's a crappy movie. And the reason why is Stephen wanted to, I guess, punch up the action a little bit more. So he added the whole giant dinosaur runs through San Diego sequence, which is not in the book. The book takes place entirely on the island. And what happens in the book on the island is awesome, would make an excellent movie. They used a couple of the sequences from that, but there was a lot more they could have done in the movie that was in the book. So the book is better than the movie, The Lost World. Now, what I don't like about the movie is the appearance of Jeff Goldblum's daughter. I don't care that she's black, doesn't bother me at all. It's the fact that she's kind of useless, and the fact that she's able to defeat a raptor by doing gymnastics is blew my mind. I was like, and not in a good way, in a bad way. It was horrendous. And then the whole San Diego sequence. All right, the dinosaur that ate everybody on board the ship. Well, how the heck did the ship make its way exactly to where it needed to go? It crashes. Yes, it does crash into the dock. Yes, it does. But it makes its way across into where it needs to go. Nobody is surprised that it's there until it speeds up and crashes into the dock. Now, if everybody's dead, who's driving the boat? The boat isn't going to go on a straight course. It's going to go all over the place. So, I don't know about that. I didn't like the little girl, and I didn't like the ending. The book is much more action-oriented. It's much more darker. and it's good. It's really good. The Lost World, the novel, is much better than the movie. Now, Spielberg is allowed his mistakes. Jurassic Park is not one of my favorite Spielberg movies. What else? There's really not any that I despise. What's this one? But there are ones that have issues where, let me go back to Lost World for a second. There's a sequence in the Lost World where Spielberg is showing off his awesome filmmaking abilities. It's the people are running through tall grass, and it's an aerial shot, like a dolly shot, and you can see the raptors in the grass moving towards the people. They have no idea that anything's coming, but you can see it. They're coming for them, and then they start attacking the people. That's really cool. And then there's some sequences that were in the book that are in the movie that work. And so, Spielberg is still a great filmmaker, but he has, in a bad film, he could have some good sequences. Hook is another good example. Hook is a film that could have been a whole lot better, but there were a few issues with some of the casting, some of the scenes, some of the sets that they did that I didn't like. But it's surrounded by a lot of really good stuff. Robin Williams does an excellent job as Peter Pan. Dustin Hoffman does a really good job as Captain Hook. What's his name? I remember who played Smee, but he was the guy who was Eddie Valiant in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. He was fantastic as well. Julia Roberts as Tinkerbell? Hell no. Terrible. Awful. Sorry, Julia, you've done some good stuff. Hook is not one of your better things, and it was bad casting. You wanted to cast, at the time, she was the hottest actress out there, and so they cast her. Terrible. I did not enjoy that at all. Maggie Smith was fantastic as Wendy. That's great. And the music by John Williams, which is another big thing. John Williams' scores is still amazing. Is so incredible. It helps alleviate some of the bad in some of these films. And then there's Spielberg movies that I'm only going to watch once and never watch again. Schindler's List is one of those. Schindler's List is a powerful movie. I saw it once, and it is a hard movie to watch. And it's one of those movies that, I saw it once. I do not own it on DVD. I had no desire. So what I feel like watching today? Schindler's List. It just doesn't. I think that's a credit to Spielberg winning the Oscars, which he did for that. He deserved it. But the fact that the movie itself has that effect on me that I cannot watch it anymore. I can never watch it again because it just made me uneasy. So I've never done that. Saving Private Ryan is another one. Saving Private Ryan is another good film, but once again, it's one of those films that I saw it once. It makes me uneasy. I have no desire to pop it into the DVD player and watch it. I think I own Saving Private Ryan. It's one of those that I don't think I'm ever going to jump back into and watch. Actually, John just sent me something here, so let me see what John says. So there's those. A fun film that I think a lot of people have overlooked is Catch Me If You Can. It's fantastic. Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. Great film. Great Christopher Walken's in it as well. It's a great cast, great story, and very enjoyable. I love it. So and that's a great one around Christmas time because it's based on a true story and great acting by both DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. DiCaprio is a con man. Hanks is the FBI agent who's coming in after him, and they always miss each other, but they always have a conversation on Christmas Day, I think, or Christmas Eve, one of those others. I think it's Christmas Eve actually, and it's such a great movie. And Christopher Walken plays probably one of the most normal characters he ever plays in his life, and it's heartbreaking what Christopher Walken's character is. He's a sad sack. He's he's a guy that, had promise, but just things happened. John McGivna, who has been watching and tweeting me perfectly, so thank you for this, John. Only Spielberg movie I really disliked was AI. Found that one very disturbing, which may have been his motive. Yeah, AI has its moments, once again, but it's one of those films that I probably won't say, you know what I feel like watching today is AI. I do own it. I think he did some good work with it. Once again, John Williams' theme is great, and there's some good stuff in it, but it is a disturbing film. It is a little rough one to watch also. And the other thing that I'm not a big fan about of it, and I'm probably, I mentioned this before, and I'm going to mention it again. I'm probably going to get booed by film people, but I'm not a big fan of Stanley Kubrick. I never saw what everybody else saw and how great he is. And that might be something for an episode of Dylan Knows sometime down the line, not necessarily a Dylan out of my head, but maybe an international or something like that. Or maybe if I ever decide to say, let's watch that Kubrick film so I can tear them apart. I'm just not a big Stanley Kubrick fan. And AI was one of his last story ideas before he passed away, and Spielberg took it and ran with it. Now, what was the problem with Spielberg is Spielberg wrote, it was Kubrick's idea. Spielberg took AI and he wrote it himself. So you'll see written by Steven Spielberg. And he doesn't do that very often. I don't even remember the last film that he wrote himself. He wrote AI. And based on Stanley Kubrick's idea. And what he was trying to do is trying to do what Melissa Matheson did in E.T. E.T. Was... What was the is it Peter Pan? Anyway, E.T. has one of those. It's a movie that is, once again, it's a phenomenal movie, but it has a connection to like a Disney film. I'm trying to remember which one it is. Based on everything that happens, and I mean, you have that aspect of it. You also have a lot of people look at it as a religious film as well, with well, I can't remember. Well, everyone's seen E.T.'s resurrection and stuff like that, and preaching love and stuff. Well, he wasn't really preaching love, but he was a kind alien. He was an evil alien. But there was, I think it was Peter Pan. I don't remember, but it was one of these Disney films that Melissa Matheson took, and the theme of that story and based E.T. around it. And Spielberg decided that, it works so well with E.T., why don't I do that with AI? And so he tried to make a bunch of connections to Pinocchio. The computer boy wants to become a real boy. And the Blue Fairy is a big, which is actually one of the coolest scenes, one of the best scenes in the film, near the end, when the robot boy is in the water and he's staring at the Blue Fairy statue that's been submerged, and he just stays there for centuries just watching the Blue Fairy. Spielberg was trying too hard to connect Pinocchio with, make it a Pinocchio theme for AI, and it just didn't work. And so I agree with you on that, John. It's a film it's not great. It's not one of his better ones. And it's one of those films that I'm always going to remember because I think I saw it with Dawn. It was one of the first movies we saw together, because I think it was around like a 2001 a release, something like that. And here's an underrated one that I have to rewatch because I've been hearing how bad people. 1941. Now, if you've never seen 1941, it is Spielberg's chance to do something completely different. It was his chance to do a total slapstick, hilarious comedic movie, and it's a total slapstick film. And the basic premise is fantastic, is that the Japanese during World War II, after they've bombed Pearl Harbor, are threatening to bomb Hollywood. And so there's a Japanese sub off the coast of California, and the paranoia that happens in Hollywood as they're expecting the Japanese to attack them at any time. And it's a huge cast. It's got John Candy, it's got John Belushi, it's got Dan Aykroyd, it's got Tim Matheson, it's got Robert, the guy who was in Unsolved Mysteries, Airplane, The Untouchables. I forget what his name is. Ned Beatty's in it. It's almost a who's who of young stars, up and coming stars, and old character actors. Toshiro Mifune's in it as well. I think Slim Whitman's in it as well. Got a great part. Daryl Hannah has a great cameo, and it's a straight up, it's a parody basically. It's a parody film, slapstick comedy, and I think I need to go watch it again because I enjoyed it. I think it drags in some points, but it's still a pretty fun film. But there are a lot of people who say, "Oh, it's terrible, it's awful," and the thing is, Spielberg needed to make 1941 in order for him to make Raiders. Now, he had made Jaws, he had made Close Encounters, so he was starting to get extravagant, and he was starting to get, busy, and he was going to throw everything in the kitchen sink because it worked so well with Jaws and Close Encounters. But he wanted to make this small film, 1941, and make it crazy and explosive and fun, and see if he can make a comedy, like a tentpole summer film comedy. And it flopped. And that made Spielberg think a little bit. He said, maybe I need to streamline what I do. And Raiders came out next. He said, okay, I can go with the big bombastic, but maybe what I need to do is I need to take it back a little bit, make it more subtle, make it more easy, and just let the acting and the set pieces do their job. And it did. Raiders is classic. I've got a few stories about Raiders before we move on to the next thing. Raiders came out in 81. We had a tradition in my family where when it was your birthday, you'd go see a movie with the family. We'd go out to the movie theater, all four of us, and see any movie that I wanted to, or my sister when it was her birthday, or my dad or my mom, whatever. And my birthday was June 20th. And my sister had been pushing for me to go see Raiders. Now, I had no desire to go see Raiders. I was what? Let me see. 81, I was 8. That's how old my daughter is now. Yeah, that's what it was. I was 8 years old, and I had no desire to see Raiders of the Lost Ark. I thought it looked dumb, scary maybe a little bit. And my sister was pushing me, you got to go see it. Everyone's going to see it. It's going to be awesome. And I was like, no, I don't really want to see it. I want to see the Cannonball Run 2. Let that sink in. Cannonball Run 2. Not 1, 2. I saw 2 instead of Raiders of the Lost Ark. I was 8 years old. That's my only excuse. That's the only reason why I'm okay with that. I was 8 years old. And I don't believe I did that. But yeah, there was that. And then the other thing about Raiders is it's one of those films that if you think about it, when you watch it, think about it. Indiana Jones doesn't need to be in that film. Now, think about that. Because the Nazis were always going to grab the Ark. They were always going to take it to that island, and they were always going to open it up. And they were always going to get their face melted because they were going to open it up. Now, here's the thing. You don't have any, let's just take Indiana Jones out of that. Let's take it out of there. They've discovered where the Ark is. They need to get the necklace, which has the directions of where it is. So they go visit, Karen Allen's character. And so Indy comes in to save her in Raiders because the German guy is getting ready to torture her to take the amulet from her. Indy comes in, saves the day. He burns his hand on the amulet, and he's able to get the impression on his hand, so they're able to say, okay, this is where we need to dig for the Ark. If Indy doesn't come in and say that, Marion, unfortunately, is probably going to get tortured, probably killed also, and her amulet is going to get taken, and they're going to have the amulet. They're going to be able to dig in the right place. They're going to be able to get the Ark. They're going to be able to fly it over to the island. They're going to open up the island, and they're all going to die anyway. That's Raiders of the Lost Ark for you. Indiana Jones didn't need to be in there. You could cut him out of the whole movie, and it would end the same way. The only difference would be Marion would be dead, tortured or dead at least, and that's really it. The Nazis still end up dead, and maybe the Ark ends up on that island before somebody else finds it. That's the only other thing also. But regardless of that, it's a great film. It's a fun film to watch, and it's great. I think I'm done with my talk about is Steven Spielberg. A few little things about Christmas, and then I'm gonna leave here and get ready for tomorrow's episode and leave you nice folks out there. So this year, what I usually do with Christmas is usually what I do is when I go out and buy Dawn's presents, I usually go to physical stores, go to mall or bookstore, video store, Target, Walmart, whatever, the mall, and I know what I want to get her, and I get the stuff there and pick it up myself and wrap it and do all that stuff. Well, this year I decided, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try something different. Everybody else is doing it. Why not I? I decided to do online shopping. So I went online and I got a bunch of stuff for Dawn without having to leave anything. I did it at work. I said, okay, this looks good. This looks good. This looks good. All right, we'll buy this. It's going to be delivered to my house by the 23rd, so we'll have it in time for Christmas. There was one big thing that she wanted. It was her big present for her. And so I took some time getting it because there were some, I'm going to be beating around the bush because she may or may not be watching. I don't know. But there's some things I need to know that it took me a while to find. And I found it. And so I went in and I went to order it. It's on back order till January 21st. So my big present for Dawn is on back order, and she will not get it until about a month after Christmas. Yeah. Good news about that is I ordered it, so when the order comes in, I'll be able to get it, but they say we're not going to charge your credit card until it comes in, so I have it in January, so I still have that money that I was going to buy those for her, sell my credit card. So now what do I do? Well, I'm going to get it to her anyway, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to get a picture of it, whatever it is, and put it in a box and say, you're going to get these in January. So, I need to bulk it up a little bit because that was a big present, so I'll just find a few other little things for her and give her something more to open on Christmas Day. So I go on Amazon today. I found 3 things I wanted. I really, really thought she would love. I think it'd be fantastic. So I get to check out. And then you check, okay, this is when, click on this if you want to come on the 24th. Click on this if you want to come the 22nd. Click on this if you want to come the 25th, stuff like that. Come on to the last one, the one that I really, really wanted to get her. It says, won't be here until the 28th, 31st of December. Again, after Christmas. The one really great present I found for her. The other 2 are good. This one was great. Is also not going to come till after Christmas. Now, I haven't bought it yet. I'm still up in the air about it. I haven't bought the other 2 items yet, so I gotta make the decision tonight because if I gotta do like 1 day delivery, so my freight is going to be amazing. But I want to get them first, so we'll see. Does this take me off online shopping? No, it doesn't. Maybe it's my own fault. I waited too long to get this stuff. But again, as I said, financial problems at the beginning of the day. It took a little while to get some money built up so I can get her something. So that's what we're stuck with. So I got her some good stuff, and I'm still going to get her a few things. I think I'm going to go out Saturday when I'm filming at the mall. I might go pick up a few little things for her as well. So she'll have a good Christmas, I'm pretty sure. But my first experience with online shopping was less than satisfactory. Finally, I was going to talk about a bunch of Christmas stuff, but it's getting really late, and I might save that for maybe tomorrow's show with Gigi. Maybe I'll do another one. I don't know. Nah, I probably won't, but maybe I'll save it for tomorrow with Gigi. Or I might wait till next year, But the one thing I did want to talk about real quick is the live-action version of The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Now, a lot of people despise this movie. This Ron Howard directed it. Jim Carrey is the Grinch. All-star cast. Taylor Momsen's first appearance. And I can't think of my brain just isn't working right now. There's a whole bunch of other actors in it. Jeffrey Tambor. I just can't think of them right now. But I was working at the radio station. Those who see my show know I used to do some work for a radio station. I was working at the radio station, and we were doing a premiere of The Grinch, and I always did the movie premieres, so I did trivia questions, and so it was one of those movies I wanted to see, and I knew Dawn wanted to see it, so we just started dating once again. It was one of those first movies we probably saw together. So I invited her to come to the sneak preview. I got her the passes for it, and so she came, and we watched, because I wanted to watch the movie too. So we sat and we watched the movie together. And when I first saw it back in, I guess, 2000, 2001, somewhere around there, I hated it. I'm not hated it, but it just was different. I wasn't a big fan of it. The cartoon was such a classic. It's like, how can you make a movie out of it? I thought Jim Carrey was way too crazy in it, and I just thought the storyline was absolutely horrendous, and it wasn't great for me. So I was like, okay. Yeah, he tried. They made a live action. It made a lot of money, and that's good. Ron Howard, didn't look like a fool. Jim Carrey continued his streak of doing really well with movies. So it did well. And so flash forward, I guess, a year or so, it has become a staple. Christmas time, obviously, it will be. You need to fill some. It was so popular at the time. It made a lot of money. So, ABC Family or Fox or whatever say, man, why don't we show, the live action version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas? There might have been some people who didn't see it, and it's Christmas. It's a Christmas movie, so we'll show it. So they showed it, and I was intrigued about it. I did buy the DVD. I don't think the year after it came out. They didn't release it until a year later on DVD, and so I got it out then. I think I watched it once. I was like, same thing. I was like, yeah, it was okay. And then I watched it again on TV, and I found myself chuckling a little bit more and kind of liking it a little bit more. And then gradually every year, as it became more of a tradition to show, I started watching it more often. And then since I had the video, why wouldn't I watch the uncut version? So I started watching the uncut version. And before you know it, it became one of my favorite Christmas movies. Now, it's not my favorite Christmas movie. That's still Christmas Story, and that one's going to be my favorite probably till the day I die. But How the Grinch Stole Christmas, is one of those films that it takes multiple viewings to maybe get it, but it's actually a fun movie. It's a fun movie. I like it. I like it a lot. And I think the main problem that most people have with it is they're still colored by the Grinch cartoon and how classic that is. And the fact is they had to expand the story of the Grinch to fill the hour and a half, hour and 45-minute runtime that it has. And so how they do that is they create a backstory for the Grinch. They focus a little bit more on who the Who's are. You get some rivalry, a love triangle, crazy stuff, and some other stuff as well. Just get an idea of who the Who's are. And one thing you have to remember about the movie is, and that was one of the things I think I liked about the movie when I first saw it, was the set design's amazing. Ron Howard and his set designer, they just went absolutely insane and made it like a live-action Dr. Seuss book. And it absolutely was, with all the crazy get-up, the makeup, the costumes, the houses, the interiors of the house, the crazy contraptions, all the crazy. It was Dr. Seuss. And then you got James Horner's score, added an extra amount of gravitas, as it were, to it as well, and made it more interesting to watch as well. And that's some things you start noticing when you start watching a movie over and over again. You start noticing these things. And then you start noticing how Ron Howard shot the film. There's a lot of really cool angles and shots like that. And then when you get to the realization that, okay, this is a different take on the Grinch, and in order for people you don't want to do a remake of the cartoon, because the cartoon's classic and it's only a half hour long. It's not even that, it's like 20 minutes long. And you don't want to do that. You want to expand upon it a little bit. So what you do is you get Jim Carrey to go absolutely bonkers and insane and create a character that he does with the Grinch, with the voice. I always use the voice. I like the voice a lot. When I read The Grinch to my children, I use the voice. It's not as good as the way Jim Carrey does it, but I still try to do it. I'm going to make stop Christmas from coming, but how? I loved his voice, and as I said, I use that when I read The Grinch to my kids. And And then if you just sit back and say, you know what, let's just watch Jim Carrey go absolutely insane and see what he does. And then you see how brilliant it is. And it's not nuanced at all. It is in your face how insane it is. But there are little side jokes, little jokes that only adults would get. Just little remarks talking directly to the viewer. He even does an imitation of Ron Howard in the film, which is great. And there's a whole sequence that is my absolute favorite Jim Carrey sequence. Actually, there's two. There's two. I'll give them two. Actually, you know what? I think that the whole film is one great Jim Carrey character acting wise. You might not like the guy from some of the other stuff he's done, but this is one of his better roles. And you go from when he goes into town at the beginning of the film to mess around with the Who's. The stuff he does is fun. He's insulting the Who's without them knowing who he is and without them realizing that they're being insulted at the time. That shows he's smarter than them, which is, in all cases, is the truth. And then we get to see a little bit more of his characters, the background, the reason why he's the way he is. And then we see his loneliness. Despite the fact that he's antisocial and hates everything, he's lonely. He just wants companionship, but he's had an experience. And you think about the experience he had as a kid where he was made fun of, bullied by other kids because he was different. It plays on you. And you think about it, that's what bullying does. It messes with your head, and that's what caused him to be the way he is, the bullying and stuff like that. And that's more of a nuanced background thing. You don't quite realize the fact that he's being bullied, even though he is. And it's kind of blatant that he's being made fun of and bullied because he's different. But it doesn't show as much because he is more of I don't care. I don't care about any of you guys and stuff like that when he's younger. But then what's great is he's still a member of the Who's. And he is, as they say, is a who had a problem with the other Who's and went to live on his own to be a hermit. So he's still technically a Who, even though he looks like the Grinch. And so he longs for family. He had two women who raised him, his old biddies, they call them. So he has family in town. He's got friends. He's got a love interest, And he didn't have really any friends, but he had a love interest. He's got the two biddies who looked after him. And he's a Who. He's got a rival too, and so he's a Who. So he's a part of the Who's. And so he knows everything that happens at Christmas. He knows how excited Who's get at Christmas, and he knows what's going on. He knows about the pageants. He knows all about the stuff. I think the holiday cheermeister, because there's a sequence where Cindy Lou talks to him about being brought down there. He doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. That might be something new that happened after the Grinch left. So he might not be aware of that, but he is aware of the fact that Who's always loved Christmas. Because that's sort of shoved in his face, and that's sort of how he hated Christmas, because everybody else loved it and were shoving it in his face, and he didn't like it. But then when the woman he likes Christmas, he says, you know what, maybe there's something to this, and he tries to impress her, and that's when the bullying happens, and that's where the bad stuff happens. But I'm getting to the point that I want to say. The point I'm getting to is that there's a sequence where he's asleep, and the Grinch, and he hears the Who's singing. They're preparing for their jubilation, and Cindy Lou Who has suggested that the Grinch be the holiday cheermeister because she wants to try to get the Grinch and the Who's back together, because she's been hearing stories about them, and she's going through that phase where she's doubting Christmas for herself. She's going through what the Grinch went through, except she's not being bullied. She's questioning why everyone's obsessed with Christmas. And so the best way to do that is to find out what's going on with the Grinch. So she says, you know what? And she learns about the Grinch. She learns that he's part of the Who's and that he disappeared and lives up in the mountains and has separated himself. And she says, this is probably the best time because Christmas is the time to get back together. So let's bring him back. Let's get everybody back together and have one big happy family again. As a child, that's what she thinks would just bring him down. Everything will be fine. We'll be one big happy family again. The Grinch can't be lonely anymore, won't be upset anymore, and everything will be great. She doesn't quite know all the other stuff that's going on. So she's on her way up to get him to come down to be the holiday cheermeister. So the Who's are singing, prepping for the jubilation. So they're singing Da Who Ores, or no, they're not singing that. They're singing Christmas, Christmas. It's a Christmas song. But the Grinch is sleeping, and he starts hearing it because he can hear it as the sound rises. And he absolutely wakes up in a cold sweat and ends up freaking out because he can still hear the music. And he doesn't want to hear music. He wants to be left alone. So he tries everything in his power to shut the song off. That means turning on all the machines in his cave and turning on a giant monkey with the cymbals, and then smacking his head in between the cymbals and jumping around on a jackhammer and just doing all kinds of crazy. And he's absolutely crazy, and it is one of the funniest physical comedy, hilarious sequences that when I first saw the movie, I thought it was annoying, but then watching it multiple times, it is hilarious. It is fantastic. And then when they go down to become the Holiday Cheermeister, it looks like Cindy Lou's plan is working. I mean, everyone's excited to see him. They give him food. They're giving him all these competitions. He's having fun. Everything's going great. But then his rival, who's the mayor, is like, okay, we can't have this. I got to do something to nip this in the bud because he's becoming more popular than I am. So he comes back to being his bullying self and causes the Grinch to have memories of what caused him to split from the Who's in the first place. And that's not funny. Okay? And it does not, at this point though, instead of him leaving, the Grinch leaving like he did after the situation when he was a kid, he left, and that's when he became the hermit up at Mount Crumpet. Instead, he gets his revenge on his rival, the mayor, and the people. I mean, granted, he might have gone a little too far when he also got the Who's involved with that, but they were laughing at him, and he didn't like that. But he has a great speech where he discusses the avarice of Christmas and how they're a bunch of idiots. And then he just totally demolishes the place. And it's a great cathartic sequence. And totally deserved, in my opinion. But he leaves thinking he succeeded, but then the mayor is able to pull a magic out of his hat and everything is back to normal. So that's when he comes with the idea is I'll be Santa and I will steal Christmas. That's where we come to the only scene in the movie I do not, and I still do not like, is when he sings You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. I do not like Jim Carrey's rendition of it. I do not think it's good, and I think if they would have gotten somebody else to sing it during the montage of him getting ready for Christmas, I think would have been better. But I do not like his version of it. That's the only thing I don't like about this film now, and I still don't like it. But what are you going to do? And so, of course, he steals Christmas. So, once again, it's sequence after sequence after sequence where you see Jim Carrey at his physical comedic best with his comic side jokes. And he's not annoying. It's funny. And it's very clever, and I like the character, and I like the music, I like the background, I like everything. Just works perfectly for the movie. So then we come to the last sequence where I think I didn't like it when it first came out. I thought it was too weird, but now I think it's absolutely brilliant. Everyone knows the story of the Grinch, where he hears them singing Valhudores, knowing that he can't kill Christmas because Christmas is in your heart and not in what you can give to everybody. So he hears them singing and he starts to freak out again, and then he stops, and that's when he begins to realize that maybe he's wrong. Maybe Christmas is something more than gifts. And then you've got the James Horner theme, music score building up, this fantastic triumphant music. The clouds, the sun is coming out, the morning has broken, it's pink skies in the clouds, and the Grinch is realizing, is having an epiphany that it's, Christmas is Christmas. You can't kill Christmas. Christmas is good. Christmas is fine. And Christmas is a great spirit to have. And he begins to feel happy, begins to feel ecstatic, begins to like Christmas, begins to want to go down to the Who's and hang out with them because he had such a good time with them before all the mess happened. And then his heart grows 3 times. And in the book, in the Dr. Seuss book, that's just a literary turn of phrase. His heart grew 3 sizes that day. They took it literally in the film, and you see the Grinch's heart growing. And of course, if your heart is growing, it's going to be painful. And that's exactly what Jim Carrey does as the Grinch. He is in writhing pain with the fact that his heart is growing inside of him. And then once he's gotten to the point where he's fully emotional now, he goes off, and this is totally done on purpose. He goes off on a totally insane overacting of being emotional. And then you cut to the dog, and the dog looks at him and has this look on his face like, I can't believe this. He's like, he's got what everybody else in the audience is thinking, this is over the top, way too much. And that's the reason why they did it. And it is perfect. I highly recommend you go back and you check How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the live action version. And just don't think about the cartoon. Because cartoon's a classic on its own. You're not going to touch that. Just think about it as an absolutely insane Christmas movie. That's a lot of fun. The set design's amazing. The costumes, the makeup is all fantastic. James Horner's score is amazing. Ron Howard does a great job of directing it. You get through some of the hard points and just see the actual story unfold and the way things are unfolding. You might be surprised. You might surprise yourself. The only other movie I really like a lot like that, Scrooged, and it's another one of the good ones where Bill Murray's Frank Cross character at the end, that is one of the greatest Christmas sequences ever. Is like he's got a 10-minute monologue where everything that he's been building up, coming to the realization that he loves Christmas, comes out in the sequence, and that's why I'm going to talk about that because it's getting late. Did I cover everything I wanted to? No, I didn't. But you know what? This is a test. Dylan Knows is back. Back with a vengeance, hopefully. Tomorrow we'll be talking more Christmas. Me and Jerry Fletcher will be doing our top 15 to 20 Christmas songs. We'll be talking Christmas then. And I might even say, hey, Jerry, give me some of your favorite TV Christmas episodes or specials or whatever. We might even talk about that because, you can only do so much about the music. You can only say so much about it. So it might be a quick episode. So we might have to think of some other stuff as well. So come on back tomorrow, which is going to be the unofficial Dylan Knows Christmas party, just like last year where Jerry and I did our episode. Basically, it was pretty interesting how things are laying out. It was also a Friday. It might have actually been, what was it, the 20th? It might have been December 20th was when we did it.